Welcome to the Health Flow Podcast. I'm your host, Jean Armand. Join me weekly as I share health information that will educate and inspire you. Please consider supporting this podcast by listening, subscribing, and rating. You can also support future episodes by making small monthly donations. Once again, welcome to the Health Flow Podcast. Welcome to the Health Flow Podcast. This is episode number 24, and our topic today is going to be on hidradenitis. Hidradenitis suppurative is what they call it. So, what hidradenitis is it could be a chronic inflammatory skin condition that can affect your groin, your axilla, perineal region. And I actually am blessed to have a young man who has been fighting this situation, and he's my guest today. So welcome, Amir, to the Health Flow Podcast.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. He's like my son, if anybody knows, and I'm so proud of him, even to take this moment to talk about it, because the Health Flow Podcast is all about sharing healthcare information that may empower and help someone else. So Amir is going to talk to us today. So Amir, when did it start? What were your symptoms of hidradenitis?
Well, it started last November or December,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like a small little bumps and stuff, and weird places like my underarms, and then and the groin and stuff. And after that, it just progressively got worse. And I remember taking all of the medication that they prescribed, trying to change up my diet, and it just didn't seem to go away.
Right. And I'm sure, well, before the bumps came, did you notice anything else?
Not really.
No, it just came on. I mean, you were fine, never diagnosed. I know you were healthy, athlete, just out there doing wonderful things. I know your parents and your brothers and sisters, there's no family history of anybody else having this hidradenitis.
No, just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
And then what did the doctors tell you? Like, what did they say? What was their opinion about how you got it?
The doctor, they weren't really sure.
Right.
They weren't really sure. They couldn't figure it out. So.
Right. And I mean, in my area of working, I've seen actually adults is the people I've seen the most with hidradenitis, and it would be chronic, like just repeat abscesses over and over again under their armpits or in the groin area. They would come and we would do these awful painful drainage, and we call it incision and drainage of the abscesses, put them on antibiotics, and then it would be like weeks and the whole thing, they would reform. So what I'm most proud for you is that, and these are adults, so some people actually never get treated like you got treated. So once you kept on, how many times can you recall having, of them trying antibiotics first?
Like 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times. Yeah, and long periods of antibiotics, right?
Yeah, like between December and July. That's how long I took antibiotics.
Okay, straight. Yeah. Oh wow. So that's December to July. That's what, 6 months? Yeah, that's about almost 5, 6, even 7 months of just trying antibiotics. And what other things besides antibiotics? You said you changed your diet. What did they tell you about the diet?
Well, no potatoes. That's something that really stuck out, and cutting down on sweets and sugars and stuff.
Okay. Sweet sugars and no potatoes. And you guys did all of that and still no more. So what was the next step that they explained to you in treatment?
Well, when it didn't go away, they were telling me that I would have to have a surgery. And I was thinking it was just going to be like a one and done type thing. But it ended up being multiple ones. Yeah, it was a lot.
So your first surgery was when?
In July.
Okay. July of
Oh,
2019?
yeah. Or
Yeah,
is it? It was July.
it was July. And how long were you in the hospital?
3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 3
So you
weeks.
had surgery and you spent 3 weeks in the hospital. And during that time, what happened?
I had a few surgeries over the span of those 3 weeks, and yeah, I was just in there
Yeah.
trying to heal.
And July, so that was just so everyone knows, this is Amir's senior year in high school. So you can imagine all the different effects that that had on his life. You want to talk about that? How that changed, having this condition changed you
Well,
or affected your life?
yeah. So on like the social side, I didn't go out as much because like my arms were hurting. It was mostly my arms that would hurt. I didn't feel much pain everywhere else. So
Right.
stuff like that. And then at school, it kind of tired me out. I'm not sure how, but I was very tired. I had low energy at school.
Yeah.
And I remember, well, this seems as though first semester is over for senior year. I was missing a lot of school, once because of a surgery, and then also because of like therapy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Yeah, when you talk about low energy, it's low energy because your body is fighting an infection. And so that's one of the things. Obviously, it's like being sick. Well, even though you were not looking physically ill, the chronic abscesses, the chronic infection had to have a toll on your energy level for sure. That goes without saying. But yeah, that's a lot to deal with, but you've been doing well. I mean, I'm just so proud of you and your parents. So yes, definitely, because not everybody. Well, first of all, I know that. I mean, it's great that you started with the surgeries now, so that later on in life, it's just not you've had so much of your life interrupted by this. At least you got on it, you got treatment, and hopefully, what is the prognosis? Well, tell us. Well, let's backtrack. You had your first or multiple rounds of surgery in July. You were not in the hospital for a total of 3 weeks. They drained them, and what else did they do?
They removed like all of it, and they did skin grafts on my arms, then my groin, and they just let it grow back by itself.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you're completely healed from that.
Yes.
And what are you doing now? What do you do? Do you have to take antibiotics? Are you in therapy?
Well, I'm in physical therapy right now, and I just changed the way I eat most of the time.
Okay. All right. And so the physical therapy is because you had the skin graft.
Yes. So I have to get like my reach back and everything.
Okay. All right. So what did they explain to you as far as what they took out?
They basically took out all the disease that was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like cleaning out the sinus tracts.
Yes,
is what they call it, and really removing them so that the collection of fluid and bacteria won't be there anymore. So, and when you do skin graft, it's like, if anybody's familiar with getting burned, having burns, and they have to put new layer of skin over. They take skin from one part of your body and apply it to the next. And that's a process of healing. But because there's scar tissue that can build up, having physical therapy to increase the range of motion. So to make sure that you fully reach of your arms. Now, I imagine you did the groin area, since that's not an area where you're moving, like, it's not restricted by movement the way your arms are. Do you do therapy on your legs or just on your arms?
Well, at home I do. Yeah, I stretch a lot because I still want to play soccer. And yeah, I stretch it a whole bunch.
All right. So after this, you're going to resume. How long are you going to be in therapy?
I honestly do not know.
Probably until they know that you're completely limber, like, and like you should. But right now you take no antibiotics.
None.
That's amazing. And you've been feeling a whole lot stronger and healthier?
Yes, I have. with the help of like working out and stuff, you have to get back into it.
Right. But there's no reason why you can't.
Mm-mm.
Now, are your armpits completely healed?
Well, I have like a little like scar area on the right side, but yeah, pretty much.
But no open wounds.
Yeah. Oh wait, that's what I meant. The open wounds.
Okay.
It's really small though.
Okay, but it's healing well.
Yes.
That's great. And so tell us about your hospital experience. Where did you go? What hospital?
I was at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. The one, forgot the location.
The main one I'm not sure, not downtown Atlanta, but I even forgot the name.
One right north side.
Yes, the main campus.
Yes. Oh, Scottish Rite.
Scottish Rite. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in that one, and it wasn't that bad. It was a lot of stuff. Well, it was sort of a lot of stuff to keep you occupied because you're in there for so long. Right. It gets kind of boring, even with all the other stuff to keep you occupied.
Yeah, because you're used to being up and out.
Yep.
I mean, but I know they're doing great things there. So, I mean, I'm so proud of you. What do you think, what would you share with another person, another teenager going through this? You have any advice?
Well, yeah. Don't think that you're the only person going through it, because I remember I met somebody who said that they're like breaking out or whatever, and then I was talking to them about it, and I sort of helped them out. I just said that they need to reach out, and I gave them some little advice and stuff that helped me, which is basically the diet change, and the stuff that you put on your skin too. Just be careful about it. Don't use anything like too heavy.
Okay, like what? Like Vaseline and stuff like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't put Vaseline. You can use like oils and stuff, but don't use it in excess, and like really light lotions, like plant-based lotions, stuff like that.
What is the because it can block your pores. What is the very first thing that you noticed? I know you said the small bumps, but was there anything else that you noticed? Because you didn't suffer from acne on your face. You had clear, beautiful skin. Was it painful first? Was it swollen?
Yeah, it was like swollen and painful. And I don't know. I sort of like have acne in my back and stuff. I'm not sure if it's a result of that.
Right. But they don't act the same.
No, not at all.
You just woke up one day and you had this. See, it can happen. So and potatoes, French fries, oh my goodness. Yeah. And greasy food and but even so, it is an inflammatory disease, and sometimes it's not even it's not your fault. It's not things that you've done. You're just prone to have it, and you don't know whether it occurs, during the time of your hormones changing or what. The point is, I just wanted to get everyone to know we've got a young man here that's gone through it. His family has been diligent. You want to talk about your parents and how much they've helped you through this?
Yeah, they're very supportive. They helped me with my therapy. They're really like words of encouragement and stuff. Sometimes they're like really, really excited. They're saying you're going to give back to where you were. This and that.
Right.
So yeah.
So they support you.
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome. They really are. And do they help you with the exercise and stuff at home?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so they've been there encouraging you. And really, if something like this happens, it definitely is treatable. What have the doctors say about the reoccurrence?
Well, it could happen. I just have to treat myself right to minimize that happening.
All righty. Well, great. I'm so happy and proud of Amir to take the time to come to the Helpful Podcast and tell us about his experience. I'll make sure that I put in the show notes, explaining what hidradenitis is. Just to recap, just like he said in the beginning, when you start getting these abscesses, your doctor may start you on antibiotics. And this is more than having one abscess. There's people who have an abscess, whether it's in the axilla, the groin, or the perianal area, and they may have one or two, because germs like moist, dark places, and those are moist, dark places. And also, really, I find that if you're overweight a lot, which definitely was not Amir's case, a sugar high in diet in sugar, a diet high in sugar, or even diabetics, they're sometimes the very first time a person realizes that they're diabetic is by having a skin abscess because of the high content of sugar in their blood. This is completely different from that. This is chronic, over and over again. These abscesses form in what used to be just healthy people. So we'll share the information. And Amir, thank you. Any last words?
Oh, no, that's not. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming to the Healthful Podcast.
All right, no problem.
You're welcome. Are you thinking about starting your own podcast? If so, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, Anchor is free. Anchor has all the creation tools that allow you to record your podcast and edit it right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So welcome back to part two. Now I have Miss Tracy Sharp, and she's going to share her experience. Amir is her son, and he talked about, his experience with hidradenitis. So Tracy, welcome to the Healthful Podcast.
Thank you.
So glad to have her. Tracy and I are good friends. So this is really close to home. So tell me when what was going on, and what do you recall when Amir was diagnosed with hidradenitis? How did it even come about for you?
It's funny because we're actually doing this podcast exactly a year following the actual symptoms that we noticed. Amir actually turns 18 today, and a year ago he had a birthday party and was, in a little bit of discomfort. We actually thought that he pulled the muscle in his groin. Excuse me. So that's kind of when it actually stood out to us. But looking back, we actually had symptoms before that. During his birthday party, we thought he was suffering from a pulled muscle in the groin area because the way he was walking, he was in pain. He'd had a soccer game or several soccer games before that, and that's pretty much what we thought was going on.
Right.
And then, I would say like a week or so later, we started having a discussion, and then he pulled his dad in and said, okay, this is what's going on. I think we actually called Eugene and said, hey, we want you to look at this. It's like an ingrown hair, but it's really painful. And he's had it before, but now it's back. And so I would say that our journey that, really started last year.
Before January of December
Right.
of last year, if I can remember.
Yes, it actually started before that, but as far as us realizing, okay, there's actually something else going on, it was actually a year ago.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. So he goes to the doctor, and what do they say?
So we go to a couple of doctors, and he was given cream. He was given some type of soap, acne medications, even some internal antibiotics to take. And it got to a point where it just became so painful. So he had what we thought were ingrown hairs under the arms as well as the groin. And we just decided one day, okay, we're going to the actual pediatrician. And we take him to the pediatrician, and he sees under his arm what, we thought it was just a really bad boil at this point. And when he saw it, he immediately told us to take him to Scottish Rite.
Children's Hospital in Atlanta.
Right. And it didn't take them long. They actually gave him an incision and released, everything. And they did tests, came back in the room and said, okay, so we're going to have to send you to a specialist. And this is what we think this is, HS. And that's when the journey began.
Okay. And what specialists did they send you guys to?
They sent us to a surgeon, Dr. Brady. And we were a little bit concerned about that and a little, not sure why we were being sent to a pediatric surgeon, but he was someone who they were aware had been dealing with HS, at least in that hospital and in this area. And, but it turned out to be a really good thing because he just had 2 or 3 patients that, that were being treated, with meds or had surgery. So he was able to, pretty much introduce us to what HS really was, and then started to give us, a lot of information and to educate us on.
Okay. And from your perspective, what is HS? We know it's hidradenitis suppurative, but what do you understand about it?
So I understand that it is a condition that is, pretty much inflammation, inflammation in the body. And a lot of people who have experienced HS, it started during the time that they were either, they were maybe doing activities or they were sweating and certain things were happening, but a lot of times puberty, at times of puberty. And so this is what I understand has happened with Amir. And again, just being, learning more and more about it, we realized that it happened before last December. We had a situation where we had something on his pelvic bone, and we thought that it was an injury from soccer. And so we dealt with that, and we did therapy and all sorts of things. But just looking back and learning more, we realized that this thing didn't happen overnight. But that's the way it seemed.
Right. It was small episodes, but none that you could really correlate and say this is what it is, because it would be time in between.
Correct.
But then it got to a point, and I would say as he got, as he was getting deeper and deeper into puberty, hormone and, changes, and then it was just full blown.
Right. And every single specialist that we spoke to asked the question, when did you notice? And when we said December, and here it is like maybe February, March, they were looking at him like there's no way that this happened in such a short amount of time. So again, the inflammation was there. It's just that we didn't know what was going on.
Right. And that just is a testament to teenagers, young adults, even adults. We don't always, there's good ways to look at this and there's bad ways. And it's the same thing like anything else. Something is going, and teenagers, they're private. They don't want to, tell anybody, and it may not be a big deal because yes, you can have some kind of illness and it just goes away, temporary.
Right.
Or just being afraid to say something, not, and that's how things go undiagnosed and untreated.
Yes.
But I know the type of family he has, and I know that when he came and finally let you guys know what was going on within him, because he's the one that's experiencing it, you all don't really know. It's a private thing,
Right.
I know you guys were really supportive, and he's really blessed to have the type of family he's had, because like I shared with Amir, and just to let everybody know, Amir and I had our talk separately. Tracy did not listen to that, and now it's me and her, and just sharing that other people don't have looking on the bright side of this. He had a family that was able to get to it earlier, so we don't have to see the adults who are just having these repeat painful incision and drainage, but it not being treated. No one did the deep surgeries to remove the sinus tract. This is like the most important thing, and all they do is just get reinfected, like the abscess refill. They get it drained, take antibiotics, and just keep on going through that vicious cycle. So I'm believing that that will not be his episode, that that won't be for him, because he had a family that was supportive and able to get on top of it and deal with it.
Yes. And do we wish we would have caught it sooner? Yes. I think that we could have, because it was in areas that were private, not something that we can see every day.
Right.
But I can say that after the episode, after his birthday, he pretty much, his activities stopped. He'd have to come home because I don't know if you want to, boils or whatever they were, they would, it was a lot of pressure throughout the day. So he'd literally come home daily and lie in his bed and drain. And that was very hard to watch. But I do think that if we knew exactly what was going on earlier, we could have, we tried the antibiotics, we tried the topical agents, but we could have attacked it even with diet, because we, that's something that we learned as well, is diet has a lot that plays a role with it. We've met people along this journey. Now that they know what we've gone through, they've actually come out to say, hey, I have HS, and, this is what I've been going through. And so it's been amazing. But I do think that, we may have been able to prevent surgery had we known sooner.
Right.
But by the time we, learned what was going on, we were very, very, deep in.
Right. And this is exactly what this podcast is about, to share experiences so that people know that they're not alone. If you're going, there's someone else going through it, and just to be informed, because if what you don't know can hurt you, they say, it really can. And this may not be directly to you, but what if you have a neighbor, a friend, or family member that develops something like this? You can say, hey, I heard about this. And the quicker you go and get help, the better your outcome is. That's what we want to do. So Amir talked about having surgery. And I just want to share with you that he said that in school, what was going on with him is that he would be so tired and drained at school, when he came home. That was one of his big things that he noticed, was the fatigue. And we know how, highly active he was. That had to be challenging.
Yes.
That just not messes with you physically, but also mentally.
Yes. And there was a time when we had a conversation over and over again. Is everything okay? You're coming home, you're going to sleep, you're under the covers, the blinds are closed. We actually thought that he was suffering from depression. We had no clue that this was something physical happening. Wow. And then, of course, so again, it came full circle, but absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So now that he's had his surgery in June, he said, was it June or July?
June.
In June. And he's gone through multiple surgeries. You want to talk about that?
So again, when we get to the surgeon, they're shocked that this thing has happened so quickly. And so we were given more antibiotics, topical things that did not help at all. And so the surgeon actually sat with us. He had, his most recent surgery was a girl that is a Howard University student that had the surgery a year ago, had gone away to college, but then came back for additional treatment. So he was able to compare what was going on with Amir, with her. And he pretty much said, we tried the meds and they didn't work. So it resulted in the surgery. And so we're going to give it a couple of months. And June came and Amir was still in pain, fatigued, just going through the same thing. And so he actually said, I want to have the surgery.
Wow.
He's just tired of dealing with it and being in the pain. And, he covered himself up. He, his posture was different, a lot of things going on. So we talked about it and we went full-fledged with the surgery.
Okay. And here we are. He's had, both underarms, I say removed, but, those sinuses removed in the growing area. He was a trooper.
It's very hard to watch. We ended up at the hospital for 3 weeks. We thought that it would be an out surgery, and when they went in, they saw that it was a little bit
more extensive
than what they thought. So we just had the conversation during the surgery, and they went in, and we went in a room and had to learn how to,
change
dressings and, just do all these things. He had the suction cups, and it was a lot. I would hate to see anybody go through it, but we're here.
All right. And he's doing well, and today's his 18th birthday.
Yes.
And he's about to graduate from college and move on with his life. Oh my God, Amir, I'm not trying to rush you. Just like in the previous one, I said his brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's only brothers. It's only brothers. Her 3 men. Okay, so. So anything else you want to share about this experience, and where are you guys now? What do you do as far as treatment?
So we are, we had to go in and have another procedure done because in the healing process, the skin, of course, tightened. And so the biggest thing now is getting Amir back to his full reach. And so lots of massage. The therapists, they do a lot of exercises and these little machines to massage that skin to keep it, soft and supple. So therapy is now once a week. We were going 2 to 3 times per week. And
but you do therapy at home?
And we also do therapy at home. So he's required to do therapy at home. He has multiple exercises. I would say if he did them completely at one time, it would probably be about an hour to an hour and a half of stretching and exercises daily. And we try to remind him to watch his diet. The thing that we heard the most was dairy and potatoes, that cause, inflammation in a lot of people. It was a blessing, actually. He had 2 people in surgery that came back the next day and said, I have HS, and I just want to tell you how well he did. And so we were just not able to get educated through the professionals, but, we had people that would just say, hey, I heard that he had this surgery, and, my nephew has HS or this. So it's come out, and we thought it was very important to talk to Eugene to get this out, because we've met a person at school that's suffering from it. And so we tell our story, and, and maybe it'll help,
someone else. Absolutely. That's great. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm so excited. I was thinking about something else and now I lost my train of thought, but I think it's really good, like I said before, that it's a blessing that, he had parents and support like you to get it done early and not to have to go through this, lifetime of suffering like I've seen other people do. You don't have to deal with it and not being, after a while, antibiotics don't work because the more you take, the more your body can develop resistance. So you only want to take it when you absolutely need to. And so I'm glad that at least a different route and a different outcome. And I know he's going to go on to college and just have a wonderful life. I was suggesting to him that maybe even getting into yoga would be good.
Oh,
you guys should, because that's stretching. And you can check with the physical therapist, but I think yoga would be amazing for him. I really do, because that's the most limber you can get. And all right, Tracy, well, unless if you have anything else to say, that'd be it. Do you have anything else?
I just want to say thank you, and we are looking forward to Amir getting back to full activity, full range, beyond.
That's right. To just live to his fullest potential, where he was destined to be already. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tracy and Amir, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Health Flow podcast. Your support is much appreciated. It is my goal to share health information that you find helpful. Email topics of interest to thehealthflow@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at thehealthflow, also on Facebook at The Health Flow. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Until next time, keep your health flowing.